Well, English leagues 1 and 2 can be a bit of a minefield, but we did all right yesterday, thanks largely to a whole load of red cards. 2 of them in our favour, 1 of them not. Salford City got us the equaliser, and you can always cash out at the 1-1. But I was looking for the 2-1 and a nice 44 quid. But they were red carded late on, Salford. Thankfully, they didn't concede. Come away with a marginal loss there. But this is the beauty. Tranmere red card. Swindon taking real advantage of that, as you can see there. Lovely, jubbly. Wrexham and Stevenage. Well, we were looking for a fight back from 0-2 down for Wrexham. They did score 2 goals, but they conceded 1. And just with that 1-2, you could have made that £12 green. So it's all relative to the amount risked, isn't it? Double that 12 quid would look a lot nicer, wouldn't it? But then your risk is doubled. And the final, pretty much kick of the match, Wycombe nailing a 2-1 win against red-carded Barnsley. Fantastic stuff. Look at that return. And don't forget, this is only to marginal stakes, 40 quid maximum. So really nice return for a blustery evening. So if you like a bit of that, and who doesn't, join Football Trading Profits members area for guaranteed football profits. Go to footballtradingprofits.com, give that a click, and wait for it to load. Have a look down, take out the free trial, and you'll be making, I hope, what was that, 130 quid? Not bad for a midweek English League 1, English League 2 affair. Don't forget, if you want to dip your toe in, get some Premier League football research for the weekend, then name and email, register for your free Betfair trading lessons and for your free Premier League research, which is in-depth and includes 2.5 goals as well. Well, I couldn't do a live stream yesterday because some woman at GoDaddy had deleted my website, which I just paid for. So that was fun. That was a 3-hour phone call, I think it was. Well, online WhatsApp. So, and that bled in to the football, which was a pity. But I will be doing free live streams, and you've seen the profit we can make. So come along. You might learn something for free. youtube.com/@footballtradingprofits. Get subscribing now. Just looking at some other matches yesterday. Well, you could have arguably taken on this Millwall lead, but you'd have had to take some insurance out. Portsmouth's home record was superb, but they're standing in the league 4th from bottom. Just suggested maybe they weren't that reliable. Millwall can do what they did yesterday and lock up that defence. Elsewhere, League 1, well, we got the ones we wanted, didn't we? Look at that red card there, beautiful. We did take on Leyton Orient's 0-4 lead, but a bit too late. Took it on at 2-4 because we just saw Muhammad Ali, I think it was, scoring those 2 goals, thinking they could do the impossible. But this was the entry point, 0-4 at half time. It cost you nothing to find out. It's probably going to be 1.01. But complacency, you saw Everton against Tottenham 3-0 at half time, ended 3-2. Complacency can sometimes see these sides slip up. So we chose the right matches yesterday. Brilliant stuff. Don't forget the English Professional Development League. Over 2.5 goals? Yes, please. Yes, please. All dependent on the timing of the first goal. 16 minutes. Normally try to wait 15. So you could have actually got a profitable play out of that one. So it's all good stuff yesterday. English League 2 as well, down the bottom here. We chose correctly. Salford and Newport. Well, that was holding on for dear life. Tranmere's 2 red cards pretty much killed them off, and we were already involved, so profited well. Could have profited here as well, Chesterfield and Bromley. So yesterday, you can see red cards. Add that to your list of trading angles. They can change games. I say can because oftentimes there's teams like Arsenal who are drilled to play with 10 men, and they can be tough to score against with 10. So I say can, not always will. In-play stats will tell you everything. On to today, and it's the Champions League. Pretty much like English League One, English League Two. My initial cues are going to be taken from the odds-on favourites. I will mark them like this at soccer24.com. As you can see, there's a hell of a lot. So it's a confident market today, you could argue. Research, I've done the research for members, but for me, research is a little academic. Some of the research done that I get my research from, it focuses too much on league form coming into the match, league patterns. That doesn't apply. These are one-off matches. I would also almost describe these as derby-style matches, and you know how much I don't like derby-style matches. Aston Villa and Celtic, well, oftentimes when a Premier League club meets an SPL side, you're solidly with the Premier League side. Celtic have got nothing to stretch them up south, up north, nothing at all apart from Rangers. And perhaps Dundee, when Dundee are at home. But that's it. They might be a different animal in the Champions League. Here's how you check the form out. I'm not going to be researching these for you. Oh, access denied. Why? Because my VPN is going through Luxembourg today. So I'm off on my travels. Let's try that again. Aston Villa and Celtic. Here's how you look at the Champions League form in itself. Let's have a look. Get past all these adverts. It's a great website because you can look at all of these competitions in isolation. Aston Villa in the Champions League, Celtic in the Champions League, Aston Villa at home in the Champions League. Clean sheets. Notable. Let's note that tonight, particularly if Celtic score first. Are they really going to score a second? Celtic looking in good form in the Champions League, aren't they? But have they met any real big guns? Not really. The young boys out of form in Switzerland. DZ tend to be out of their depth in this competition. Club Brugge coming from Belgium. Leipzig woefully out of form. Atalanta, good result, must say. Looking away from home, 2 consecutive 0-0s for Celtic. Trouble scoring that second goal on the road in the Champions League. So it does look that it's a side keeping clean sheets at home against a side failing to score pretty much away from home. You'd be favouring Aston Villa here, and you'd be taking on a Celtic lead. We're looking for trading angles. That would be a possible one for me today. Barcelona coming off a 7-goal haul against Valencia at the weekend. They'll be purring against an Atalanta who do blow hot and cold. Bayer Leverkusen, look out for goals before half-time. With them, it just seems to be a pattern, doesn't it, for Xavi Alonso. Bayern Munich, 1.02. Get your correct score, win to nil boots on. I would look for 3 correct scores between 4-0 and 9-0. You'll have to go to the bookies because Betfair's exchange goes as far as 4 goals maximum with any other home score, any other away score. Real Madrid playing Brest today. Let's have a look at Brest's Champions League form. We go down, look at the match here. And you can look again in isolation, uk.soccerway.com. I can put an ad blocker on, but I'm using soccerstats.com as well, which doesn't use an ad blocker, which won't allow me to use an ad blocker. Looking at Brest, losing to Shakhtar Donetsk and Barcelona. Well, Barcelona, no great shakes. Beating PSV Eindhoven. There's a picture of me. How did they get that? That's a breach of data protection, isn't it? How on earth did they get that photo of me waking up this morning? Brest at home. Sturm Graz, Bayer Leverkusen, good result. Keeping a very attack-minded Bayer Leverkusen quiet. And PSV Eindhoven, who can also pile in with the goals. So an obvious tactic at home for Brest in the Champions League. Away from home, well, Real Madrid losing to Liverpool and AC Milan. So they tend to lose to the marquee clubs. Away from home, losing to Lille. Shock result. Another French side, you'll note, and that was a penalty. Failing to score against Liverpool as well, and 3 goals against Atalanta. It's all dependent on who plays today. These are the big 3. Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius and Bellingham. Vinicius has been absent recently. I think an accumulation of yellow cards or a red card made him sit it out. But I think he might be back. So this again is defence v attack tonight. Do tend to rely on Real Madrid. Look for their team set up, their lineup when you get nearer to 8 o'clock. Dinamo Zagreb, for me, am I right or am I not right? I think they're out of their depth in this competition. Let's have a look. So you see soccerstats.com for league football. For specialist competitions, you're heading off to this website here. Failing to score in the last 3 matches. Arsenal, fair enough. Celtic, Borussia Dortmund. Look to be a little bit out of their depth, don't they? Great 2-2 against Monaco. And they were leading 2-0 there. So they could be vulnerable if leading. That's a good angle. AC Milan, well, you can't complain with that, can you? Have they really been stretched, though? Girona, new to the competition. Crvena Zvezda, Slovan Bratislava, hardly being stretched in those recent 2 out of 3 matches, have they? Away from home, beating Real Madrid, 5th of November, superb stuff. And, well, made to work by Slovan Bratislava. It looks more tight than it was, doesn't it, really? That was just a consolation late on for Marcelli. 1-3 is more in keeping with what you would expect. Notably, is it 3 different scorers there? 3 different scorers there. So they have some strength and depth. I think that's one to focus on this evening. The markets do look correct here, don't they? Dortmund can be a little wobbly. I think they let a 2-goal lead slip, didn't they, at the weekend, and we took advantage of that. But they did have 10 men. Girona and the Arsenal away from home in the Champions League. What are they like? Let's have a look. Girona, bit of an unknown quantity. They are closely aligned with Manchester City, one of their partner clubs. But again, they could be one of those sides who are just out of their depth. Champions League, you can see that there. Look, losing very tight matches, fair enough, but losing all the same. That's probably something that they'll be looking for, a solid performance like that. It took a Liverpool penalty to get the sole win there. And again, second half goal, near the end of the first half goal. And 2 second half goals there. So they could be vulnerable second half while putting up a solid performance in the first half. So look to the Liverpool result as a possibility here for Girona, really packing that defence up. Arsenal have only lost to Inter Milan, but who have they been playing? Well, Sporting Lisbon, Monaco, DZ again out of their depth. So apart from Monaco, no real look at that Shakhtar Donetsk as well. Hardly the greatest size, but that will be alarming to Mikel Arteta. Failing to score against Porto, Bayern Munich, Atalanta and Inter Milan. So that will be a little alarming, particularly with that recent 0-1 Liverpool penalty win against Girona. So you can get an idea that these odds are perhaps a little bit too short. We could see some second half action. It could be like the Wolves match for Arsenal, where they will need something to ignite them, like that Wolves red card. So now you know where to go to look at Champions League football. It's a really good coupon. Brilliant sides, but don't expect an easy night for reading these matches. These sides are the best in their country, of course. Let's look at one more. Let's look at one of these imponderables, 2.6 the favourite. I hope you're learning that these can be very tough to call. Stuttgart and PSG. So we go again, uk.soccerway.com. Looking at Stuttgart and PSG. Stuttgart been pretty good domestically, but they're given a chance today, aren't they? Probably because PSG may have qualified, but you'll have to check that one out. And those of you with the research at footballtradingprofits.com will already have that information to hand. Young boys in Slovan Bratislava, no worries at all, but that's a surprise result, losing to Red Star Belgrade as well, and a 0-2 loss to Atalanta at home. A little tighter, but they do concede. They've conceded in, well, the last three most recent Champions League performances. They've conceded a goal at least in. That's going to worry them this evening. PSG with Barcola et al. Can ignite, but they have struggled. Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid, the big boys. I don't think today's opponents, Stuttgart, are quite on the level of Bayern or Atletico Madrid, but a German side beating PSG, notable. Note the red card as well for Dembele. So that just takes the gloss off that 1-0 win. They did score first against Atletico Madrid. Good results against PSG, and this was an excellent performance against Man City. I should have played that one, really. 0-2 up with a majority of the half to go. Dembele, Barcola again, João Neves, Gonçalo Ramos. Is that more Portuguese? Portuguese are spreading, aren't they? Going from Wolves to Paris. Away from home, look vulnerable, don't they? Losing to Dortmund, Arsenal, notably, German side. Arsenal, German side. Salzburg playing German side tonight. So that's why 2.6 the favourite. It could be also why the reason could also be that PSG may not need the win. So those of you at footballtradingprofits.com, you'll have all of the angles today. Elsewhere, well, that's about it, really. We've got a 2.6 the favourite, Tenerife and Deportivo La Coruña. And of course, the match we've all been waiting for. Forget the Champions League. This is where it's at. Barrow against Doncaster. Let's have a look at this one before I depart. Right, well, before I do my 12-month Navy SEALs workout plan, I'm going to have a look at Barrow against Doncaster. I don't know why they've chosen me for the Navy SEALs 12-month workout plan. But there we go. Not affiliated with the US Marines, by the way. And water fasting, is someone trying to tell me something? I'm a fat bastard, I think, is what these adverts are telling me. Barrow win very infrequently since the 28th of September. Only the 3 wins did come at home. It's grim up north, but they did beat Grimsby 3-0. Doncaster on a run of 2 consecutive 1-0 wins. Harry Clifton and Luke Molyneux. And a 1-1 recently against Colchester, where they led as well. So looks like they're keeping it a little bit tight of late. Did concede two against Port Vale. That was a late goal. Moving on down. Don't forget what the market says is can't really pick a winner. So just bear that in mind. As a trader, you can pick your battles. We saw yesterday. How many matches did I get involved in yesterday? From all of those matches in the Championship, League One and League Two, I think it was only about 3 or 4. That's the key to success, narrowing it down. Barrow could be a touch of relegation 6-pointer about them, but they are a bit of a contrary side. 2 defeats against 20th and lower. And if you look from the 2nd to the 16th at home, only the 1 defeat. And that came against 6th. They're playing 5th today. They lost 1-0 to. They have scored 2 goals on a couple of occasions against 3rd, 7th, 10th, 12th. That was a recent one, wasn't it? Against Grimsby. Doncaster, they look very assured away from home. I said that based on this, and suddenly we saw There's 2 defeats against Harrogate and Newport. This is typical of the league, isn't it? You can do all of this solid stuff and then suddenly these 2 things turn up. That's why I don't really like these leagues. They're not very readable or trustworthy. 38% over 2.5 goals playing, 46% overs today. We don't get an overs angle, do we? There's nothing emphatic. Well, that could offer you an angle in later on today. Wow, 14 goals in total scored in the last 15 minutes of matches. If this becomes a draw coming to the 75th minute, that could be an angle. Barrow are at the most vulnerable in the second half. 75% of the goals conceded have come second half. Don't forget, you're only looking at the home side at home and the away side away. You don't want to be looking at total. It doesn't make any sense, does it? Because some sides travel well, some sides don't travel well. Nothing really to spark our interest from Donny, but certainly this captures my attention. Last 15 minutes in a Barrow match. If it's 0-0 coming to the 76th minute, that would be what I would be looking for. 3 0-0s at half time at home, none at full time. 4 0-0s at half time away, only 1 at full time. Good conversion rate. So if there's a 0-0 at half time, you've got the opportunity to lay that draw. So I look forward to seeing members later on today at 8 o'clock. And just to let you know, members of footballtradingprofits.com, tomorrow I'm out for a meal with friends to say goodbye, because I'm off on Monday back to Thailand to meet my niece who's travelling around Southeast Asia. So that should be wonderful. I'll be seeing members of footballtradingprofits.com from 8 o'clock onwards on Telegram. I won't be doing a live stream because these are pretty much like derby style matches, but you saw yesterday really good stuff, particularly those who waited to pick up the late wins. These goals came late, but use your nous. Red cards for the opponent. We have an opportunity. I always do leave a little bit of a loss on the draw to entice you to get the bigger profit. The red cards really played into our hands yesterday. Salford's red card just knocked what would have been a £44 profit just down to a £9 loss, but tolerable because of all these juicy winnings. So come along if you want to join footballtradingprofits.com. Click on the link here at the website footballtradingprofits.com, or take the free trial offer. Get your free Premier League research and your free Betfair trading lessons. I'll see members of Football Trading Profits a bit later on from 8 o'clock onwards for what looks a fascinating Champions League clash. Don't forget, members, you have the research. You'll know who needs to do what and who doesn't. Don't forget, dead rubbers don't need to win. They're not very good trading vehicles. Have a great day, and I'll see you for the Champions League from 8 o'clock onwards.